What are some interesting or fun Christmas traditions you follow? My family has a tradition of leaving riddles on cards and guessing what the gift is before opening. We go around one by one, reading our hint out loud so everyone can guess, then open it and show the room. Ends up taking like 5 hours for everyone to get through their gifts, but it's always a fun time. My best friend and I started a tradition of celebrating Christmas Eve together. Actual day is a little loose on interpreting based on life. We switch it up each year, but we always dress up in Christmas outfits, have dinner, some kind of activity and a movie. At dinner we also exchange a book we picked for the other that we wrote a personal note inside. Then afterwards, we create a magnet for each other of our favorite photo from the night. Wife and I order from the same Chinese restaurant every Christmas Eve. We eat from there almost exclusively on Christmas Eve. We don't do much Chinese through the year regularly. Started one Christmas Eve when we were both feeling lazy and hasn't stopped. 12 years now. Every year my wife and I buy an ornament for our tree that corresponds with something that happened that year. So we have a tree filled with all of these weird wacky ornaments like a tennis ball. We started playing tennis that year. Swedish Chef Europe trip. Ship Captain Nutcracker our first cruise. Amongst many others. It's such a fun tradition in December to debate what we to get and then finding something. And then reliving them all when we put them up. Every Christmas the kids in the house have wrapping paper put over the entrances to their rooms so they get to rip through it in the morning. It originally started as a way to keep a certain kid in when he kept coming out early and opening presents before everyone was awake. My husband's family did this too, except they would wrap the doorway to the living room and everyone would have to wake up, get dressed, and have a big sit-down breakfast before they could bust through the wrapping paper barrier and get to the presents. I cannot imagine how you could get 4 kids to be that patient, but somehow his mother managed it. 28 years ago I was one of the first 100 customers at an HEB grand opening. For that honor I got 2 cans of this. That Christmas we had a fun dollar store white elephant exchange with the family Christmas Eve. I wrapped a can of the potted meat as my contribution. My mom got it and got a real kick out of it. She immediately re-gifted it to me the next day. Well, next year I wrapped it and gave it to my sister. The year after that she wrapped it and gave it to my dad. For the last 28 years this has been the most coveted gift of Christmas. I gave it to my son last year and he happily wrapped it for his cousin this Christmas. My grandpa would always get up on the roof about an hour after our bedtime and stomp around on the roof with sleigh bells. Each year we cut a round off the bottom of our Christmas tree. We label it with the year. Over time it makes a sweet display, a reminder of years past. My wife and I started doing this after we got married. We also got a wood burning tool to engrave the year and an image to represent something significant from the year. Then turn them into ornaments. For instance, when we traveled a lot one year we did a compass. We have signs all over our house spelling out Leon instead of Noel. It started out as a joke because my dad is dyslexic, but it stuck and we even named our dog Leon, and we've been doing it since I can remember. I always changed my mother-in-law's Noel candles to say Elno. She would ask me if I did it and I'd say Elno. She found me amusing, and I miss her. Every year for the last 8 years my sister and I gift each other a weird thing that makes the other one laugh. It started with when our house almost got repossessed just before Christmas and everything was so terrible that we just wanted to make each other laugh. Highlights include 12 packs of frozen potato smiley faces to resolve a long forgotten childhood argument. 3 chocolate tubes filled with teeny rubber ducks instead of chocolate. A lucky dip which involved hiding small gifts in socks, and this year a bag of potatoes with Nicolas Cage's face blue tacked on every individual potato. My brother and I stay at my mother's house on Christmas Eve with our families every year. We still sit at the top of the stairs on Christmas morning until my mother tells us we can come down to the living room to see what Santa left us. We are both in our 30s and our wives and kids now sit on the stairs as well. It's getting pretty crowded, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Ha. My mom always made us wait at the top of the stairs, so she could make sure Santa was really gone. Also, every year she'd say, well, the dogs sure were barking at something around her this morning. We eat rice porridge and hide a peeled almond in it. The person finding it is the winner, and the prize is a marzipan pig. Norway. Every year my family buys each other member a gag/joke/small gift, then writes a poem about it for the recipient to read on Christmas Eve. It's probably the highlight of the entire season for me, as it's always filled with laughter at how terrible we all are at poetry. No matter how old we all get, this is a really fun way to bring everyone back to that root joy of spending time together. This year it will be virtual, but still fun. My uncle always hosts Christmas at his house, since family comes from all over, and he has beds for everyone to stay over. On his property is about an 150-foot diameter pond. Every Christmas morning we wake up and build a giant bonfire to get ready for the impending shock we will feel later on around noon. We also try to get a decent drunk blanket going for those that are of our family's required drinking age just in case. Come noon on Christmas Day, we do the polar plunge to rid ourselves of last year's crap and look forward to next year. We huddle around this bonfire while my grandpa passes around shots to help warm up because that pond is peeping freezing. As soon as this pandemic is over and we can once again have Christmas gatherings, my sister and I can get back to smacking the hell out of each other with cardboard wrapping paper tubes. We are in our 50s, by the way. My parents were broke when I was a kid, but you'd never know it from Christmas. They always went all out, put money on credit cards, etc. One Christmas we were particularly broke, but dad went out and spent probably most of his paycheck on last minute gifts. When we got home, my mom had been with us all day, and since there was no money, she hadn't gone food shopping. All we had were some cheap hot dogs and canned beans. My parents put the beans in a pot over the fire, grabbed the hot dog cooker from when we went camping, and threw the dogs on over the fire too. My sister and I loved it so much, we did it again the following Christmas. Eventually we weren't quite so poor. The $2 hot dogs became Nathans, then Sabret's, then Butcher Bratwursts. The beans went to B&M, then eventually fancy gourmet speep. But my sister and I are now adults with our own families, and even on years where we are not together, our entire family has hot dogs and beans on Christmas Eve. We have quite a few. We open Christmas season by putting up the tree the day after Thanksgiving and watching Polar Express. We've done this for so long that my 20 and 17-year-olds have no memory of not doing it, and my 13-year-old has never had a Christmas where we didn't do this. My youngest and I make a list of holiday movies and keep track of all the ones we watch. We shoot for one movie a day starting December 1st up until Christmas, with some movies earmarked for specific days. We also watch as many holiday themed episodes of our favorite TV shows as we can. The weekend before Christmas is when we make hot cocoa, pile into the car, put on Christmas music, and drive around to look at light displays. December 23rd is cookie day. I get up early and spend the day baking. I always make way too much. The kids help when they get up. I watch A White Christmas in the morning, and we watch Christmas with the Cranks in the afternoon. This also happens to be the anniversary of my mom-in-law passing. We always buy a Christmas bouquet of flowers and tell stories about her. The kids were young when she died, so they have a foggy memory. They like to hear about her. She was an amazing grandma. Christmas Eve is when we hand out new pajamas and watch Home Alone. Home Alone is our favorite Christmas movie, so we cap off the season with it. Christmas Day is usually when I do this incredible BBQ brisket. This year we did that early in the month, and are having a simple meat and cheese spread for Christmas Day. That way I can spend less time in the kitchen and more time playing board games and video games. For the past decade, Santa has made it a habit of bringing us all Steam gift cards and a huge stack of board games. Pajamas all day. Good food. Board games. It's perfect. A buffet for 10. For 2. So my wife and I spend the days leading up to Christmas Eve going around and buying a selection of the poshest party food from the likes of M&S, Booths, Waitrose. On Christmas Eve we will bathe the kids 10 and 5 play board games with them, watch movies etc. It's bed for 9 PM and 10 PM for them both. The oven then goes on. 30 to 40 minutes later we have enough food to feed at least 10. But it's just for the 2 of us, and we always do pretty well, and are stuffed by 11:30 PM. A few glasses of wine or G&Ts keep the merriment going. We arrange the gifts at around 1 AM and it's off to bed. Excited ourselves. We usually end up discussing what food was our favorite and my wife makes a note to buy again the following year. Apart from seeing the kids' faces on Christmas morning, this is by far my favorite part of Christmas. I hope everyone has a good one this year and is able to fill their bellies and enjoy the company of those you love. The tradition in our house was whatever you got for Christmas, you had to wear to the pub at lunchtime on Christmas Day. I've been to the pub in PJs, 4 pairs of socks, running vest and shorts, etc. Shake up present. Shake present. Ask yes or no questions. You figure it out before Christmas. You open it. A tradition we had when I was a child, and one I'll be continuing with my children when I have them, is the Christmas Eve box. For Christmas Eve, we were given one gift early, and it was a box with Christmas pajamas, a mug, hot chocolate mix, popcorn, and a Christmas movie. We would get to open it around lunchtime, and we'd spend the rest of the evening in our new jammies, having cocoa and movies together. NORAD tracks Santa. Oh my gosh, I love this. When we were younger, my parents had a tradition with us. We would always go out into the front yard with my dad to find the perfect pine cone. Maybe a week or 2 before Christmas, we planted the pine cone in a pot and watered it. Then overnight, it would become this magnificent, huge to my young eyes, and fully decorated Christmas tree. It only worked in December and we were always told it was the Christmas magic. Then my sister and I figured it out when we found pine needles in my parents' car, haha. On Christmas Eve we are each given a present early. It's always pajamas, and once everyone has opened their present the pajama races begin. Everyone runs to their respective rooms and puts on their pajamas, then races back to the tree. There is no prize for the winner except bragging rights. Then there is a final present that has been wrapped multiple times with a ton of tape. We all stand around the kitchen table and attempt to unwrap it one at a time. Except you have to put on mittens and a Santa hat before attempting to unwrap it. The person to your left is rolling dice, and if they get doubles then you stop trying to unwrap it and pass the mittens and hat to them so they can try. This game becomes very loud and fast, so you need to keep on your toes. It keeps going around in a circle until someone is successful. The gift is always a board/card/dice game, and we play the game until it's time to go to bed. My siblings and I are all grown now, but we'll probably continue to play this with our parents until we have spouses to make them play as well. My husband and I celebrate Bookmas. On December 26th, we get all of the book money people sent us for Christmas and buy a giant stack of books. Then we go home, change into our PJs, and spend the day reading books, drinking hot chocolate, and eating some of the snacks people gave us for Christmas. Something a little different, I suppose. We always have lasagna Christmas Eve day before Christmas Eve. We also open our presents Christmas Eve instead of Christmas Day, but on Christmas Day we would always go to our grandparents' house to open presents with them. Not a family tradition, as much as it's something that I just decided everyone has to do a few years ago. Everyone makes plates for someone else in the family. No one is allowed to get food and drinks for themselves. It reminds my kids that even little gestures show appreciation for those around you, and to not be selfish when it comes to making others feel loved. Santa puts the stockings on everyone's bed. This way, the kids can play with the stuff in the stockings and the adults get more sleep. We hide a Christmas spider in our tree, and on Christmas morning the kids get to look for the spider. Whoever finds it gets to open the spider's gift. Usually it's something they can share. Every year everyone in my immediate family buys each other a Christmas tree ornamented. Now our tree is covered with good memories that actually have meaning. With my dad the tradition has been that he always gives me a pair of pajamas along with whatever else. Here is a picture of the ridiculous onishi he got me last year. With my mom it's always been a tradition to go to a movie on Christmas Day, which also happens to be her birthday. It's part of a tradition we have where we watch a movie together on each other's birthday. Of course this year that's out of the question, but we are probably just gonna get HBO and watch the new Wonder Woman on the couch instead. My own personal tradition is to get drunk while watching Bad Santa. I love that movie and it's a fun one to drink along with. We had an old friend who was perfect for playing the Santa. The kids and I loved his antics and dance. He unfortunately passed away a year ago after being in a terrible accident. We give him a tribute by talking to his parents on Christmas, us friends drinking together and dancing for his favorite songs with his signature steps. Although we can't meet up this year, we've set up a Zoom call and ordered Christmas caps and fake beards online. We are pretty sure that idiot is still rocking the costume somewhere far away from us. We miss him every Christmas. Every year we make Christmas paella. Undefined. Also nothing makes it Christmas besides eating it on Christmas. There is no turkey or ham, and the clams don't start singing Deck the Halls when they open or anything. We hide a pickle in the Christmas tree. The person who finds it gets an extra present. Every year we leave Santa a beer. He needs it. Santa also prefers Tekkit. My husband had a very tough upbringing, so we are trying to instill in our daughter how blessed she is to have the opportunities and experiences she does. Each year, we have to do a Christmas clean or a birthday clean. Each of us need to go through our things and donate the things we no longer need to someone else. The rules are, if you would be sad to receive that, you aren't allowed to gift it. Only because I don't want her thinking she can pass on her broken toys to someone else to get new toys. This year my daughter, who is 5, was able to complete her task alone. She went through her things and donated 8 brand new toys that would be of interest to her, still in the packaging, to a foster organization. She passed on 4 princess dresses that no longer fit her. I told her how proud I was of her for being so kind, and she said that she knows she's lucky and she knows that her cousins aren't so lucky, so maybe some of the things she's gifted to other children can make it back to her cousins this year. Bonuses. My house doesn't fill up with things not being used. Thank you for the awards and such lovely comments. I'm sure many families out there have a similar tradition to share too. In my small hometown in West Germany, in the morning of 24, the people used to gather at the marketplace, with all pubs open for that occasion, and get absolutely wasted. It's a pretty fun come together, where we used to meet old friends once a year, before we went to our families for the big dinner and the more traditional Christmas stuff. Obviously with COVID this can't happen this year. Sad times. We tipped my grandma over in her chair carefully. We couldn't do it last year because she moved her chair to be against the wall, and we can't do it this year because of COVID. But regardless, it is our tradition. Alongside Svinsanka, no idea how to spell it, which is just Polish sausage, pierogi, and rye bread and butter. Very fun. We always have McDonald's on Christmas Eve because we leave our wrapping until last minute and that's all we have time for. Sounds sad, but comes with happy nostalgia from wrapping and family. Vowing to watch the entire 24-hour marathon of A Christmas Story, watching it once, giving up, and vowing that I'll do it next year.